You probably know that yoga poses are named after animals, after birds, which we'll explore today, after sages and saints and heroes. In this exploration, we'll look at one of the famous bird poses, Kapotasana number 2. And in this pose, which is called the one-legged king pigeon pose in English, in this pose, we'll be going deep in our hips. We'll stretch the quads. We'll get a nice back bend. You might want to use props for this. To use the props, find a blanket, a strap, and blocks. We'll begin in all fours position. In all fours position, step your right foot forward, turn your right toes so they are directed toward the edge of the yoga mat, so your right foot is turned out slightly. And walk your hands forward, drop into the pose. The pose we're working toward is a deep hip opener. So we'll want to do quite a few preps before going into the pose. Just come forward and back. And if the back knee feels like it wants a little bit more comfort, a little bit more support, you might want to put a blanket underneath the back knee. Just coming forward and going back to bring your attention, bring your awareness to the area of the hips. Now we'll trade sides, so step your left foot toward the outer edge of the mat. Take your hands to the inside of the stance. And as you turn your toes out just slightly, externally rotating, just drop in, come back, and again, and just get nice opening to the pelvis. This is a little bit more advanced pose. So you don't want to draw yourself into going too deep in an advanced pose without preparing your body. There's so many aspects to this pose that you need to prepare. Hips and shoulders, upper back, quads, everything needs to get a little bit of opening before you come to the final pose. From here, come back to all fours position. Grab a block, place the block to the right side, outside edge of the mat, and park your right foot on the block. Now see if you can go just a little bit deeper in your pose. Take your hand to the top of the right knee and just drop in so you get a nice thigh stretch now. Get your awareness to that area. Now come just a little bit out of the pose. Give yourself a little break there before drawing in again and again. Make sure that your back knee feels fine for this. If you want to give it a little bit of cushion, please do so. And that will allow a little bit more comfort as you draw in. Press your toenails down to reduce the pressure on the knee. Come out of the pose. Come to all fours position. Step your left foot on the block toward the left edge of your yoga mat. And on this one, it just feels to me like I'd like a little bit of cushion on the back leg. Step your left foot to the block. And a little bit of comfort through the blanket feels good on this side as you just draw yourself deeper into the pose. The elevation of the block just increases the stretch just a little bit. If it feels like too much for you, then of course, take your left foot off the block. And as you're ready, you can just drop in a little bit more. lifting up, draw deeper. And come back to downward facing dog, just as a way to pedal your legs and get a little bit more awareness to the back side of the body. From here, come to all fours position again. In all fours position, draw your heart forward, lower yourself to the mat, press your fingertips down, get a little bit of a back bend by just opening the upper chest, hugging your elbows in, soften down, 2 more, inhale, lift up, exhale, soften, 1 more, inhale, rise up, exhale, and soften. Come to all fours position. In all fours position, step your right foot forward, settle into the pose. To keep this nice opening in the upper chest, reach your arms up and reach slightly back. Release your hands down. Step the left foot forward. Draw the pelvis down. So now we're working both that opening to the pelvis that we got, the stretch to the quad that we got, and the back bend. Reach your arms up and back as you settle the pelvis in toward the earth. Release down. Come back to all fours position. Step your right foot forward. Now with the stretch the quad that we were working on in the last poses, see about lifting up your back foot. So as you do, can you hold on to the foot? And as you hold on to the foot, can you drop in a little bit deeper? Keeping that, can you reach your right arm up? Just get this nice fullness to your pose. And slowly release yourself out of the pose. Step your right foot back. Step your left foot forward. Draw the pelvis down toward the mat. And check it out on this side. Can you lift your back foot up? Grab hold of your back foot and get this nice thigh stretch as you draw the pelvis down. Reach your left arm up. Just get this nice fullness in the upper chest. Slowly release your hand down and come to a seated pose. In your seated pose, just reflect on the actions of the pose. Just enjoy a nice ease in your in-breath and your out-breath. The birds of yoga. This one, Kapotasana number 2. We worked on a variation. Of course, we can go much deeper in the practice, and if that's part of your practice, to go so deep that your head can touch your lifted foot, by all means, go there. Thank you for joining this practice. Namaste.